Hello and welcome to another episode of my tutorial videos. I hope all of you are doing great. Well, we're finally entering the winters. I personally do not like them, but here we are. Anyway, for today's video, we are going to see how you can update the WordPress core files or the WordPress version, as well as the plugins inside your WordPress website. Now, why is it important to update your WordPress version or the plugins? This is because with the updates comes bug fixes and performance improvements. It will not only improve the performance of your website, but also make it much more stable and also enhances the user friendliness or ability to operate within your website. Now, with the updates also comes the security patches. The security patches are important because they address any kind of vulnerabilities which might have been there in the previous versions of the WordPress or the plugins, therefore reducing the risk of your website getting hacked. Now, as always, we're going to use a test website for demonstration purposes, so let's get started. So firstly, we need to make sure that we are logged into the backend of our WordPress website. This is the WordPress dashboard, the backend dashboard. We have the dark gray or black menu on the left-hand side, which we will use to navigate to plugins as well as where we want to update the WordPress version. So let us first see how we can update the plugins. So you just select the option plugins, click on the install plugins because we're dealing with the existing plugins. Now, before you do any kind of update, this is a very important point and it is very crucial. Please take a backup of your website. Without a backup, any kind of update, whether it's a simple plugin or the WordPress version, it is not recommended because WordPress is operated in PHP. It can immediately break down your website if anything is incompatible. So I would highly recommend taking a backup of your website before you do any kind of updates. Now you can see a lot of updates are available for the plugins we have installed on our test website. If you want to update a particular plugin, you can click on Update Now. But before that, what I suggest is always click on View Versions Details. This basically gives you an idea if the plugin is actually the new update version of the plugin is actually compatible with the WordPress version you have on your end. Doesn't seem like there is any problem with it, so you can easily update this one. But for example, if we scroll down and if we have a look at this particular plugin and I click on the View Details button, it shows me that this plugin has not been tested with our version of WordPress, which means that there is a risk after updating it, we might break the website. So therefore, you need to be very careful before updating any of your plugins in the backend of the website. Now, if we look at the updating of WordPress version, you can simply go to Dashboard, hover over it, and click on Updates. Now, once you have done that, you see it is telling us that we have the latest version of WordPress. Now, we do not need to install an update for the WordPress version. Usually when you have a newer version, it will give you notification here or a prompt here to update the version of your WordPress. A very important thing you need to keep in mind, again, WordPress is directly connected with the PHP language. So you need to make sure that the newer version of the WordPress towards which you're moving is also compatible with the PHP version you have on your website host. Now, these are some technical terms, but these things are important before updating the WordPress version of your website. At times, WordPress also automatically updates the WordPress version or the plugins, especially with the plugins and especially for the customers who have an e-commerce website. It is crucial because there are so many plugins which are getting the sales for you in the backend of your website, WooCommerce plugins, so on and so forth. So if they get automatically updated, and something breaks down, it can affect your sales. So you just need to make sure that you turn off any kind of automatic updates for your plugins. That is recommended so that it does not automatically update any kind of critical plugins. So how you can do that, you can simply come into this option here, enable auto updates. If it was the other way around, you would just disable auto updates. And if you want to have a look at which particular plugins have been disabled from getting automatically updated, you can simply click on auto updates disabled, and it will give you an entire list of the plugins which will not be updated automatically by WordPress. So that is an important point. We have seen a lot of cases where the plugins have automatically updated. It broke down the WooCommerce plugin or any kind of shipping plugin, cart plugin, tracking plugin, which is tracking the data on your website. And then you have to go in and fix the issue, either revert back to the older version of the plugin, so on and so forth. So this is why it's critical that you are always taking regular backups of your website. So you always have another version of your website. And if you want to update the plugins, you check the details first. Once you have checked the details, then it is safe to update the particular plugin. Or in that scenario where you have to update the WordPress version, you check the PHP version, check if it is compatible with the latest version of the WordPress. Yes, then proceed with the updating. Now, this was a brief overview of how you can update the plugins or the core WordPress version. Now, there are some other things as well which you need to be mindful of, and you do not want to go into that section until you have a very high level of expertise or knowledge around the backend of the WordPress. So under the section of appearance in our menu, there is this option called themes, and there's this option called theme file editor. Theme is where the overall theme of your website is laid out, whatever the layout of your website is. But this theme file editor is very crucial, and you do not want to make any kind of changes without having appropriate level of knowledge there. So if I just click into it and show it to you, it basically has all the coding of the core files of the WordPress. If you make any change here by chance or by mistake, and you do not have sufficient level of knowledge about that particular change and you save the changes, it can immediately break down your website. And if you don't have any backup, that can cause a lot of trouble. So this is one of the other areas of WordPress which you might not want to touch unless you have sufficient knowledge about it. Now, if you're wanting any help with your website, if you're wanting to update your plugins, you're wanting to have an updated version of your WordPress, or you're wanting to have any kind of changes or cosmetic changes, updates to your website, please get in touch with Wonks. We have expert web developers in our team who have a very high level of knowledge around the WordPress website, and we can definitely help you with some of our services and products we offer. So please feel free to get in touch. I hope this video was helpful. Thumbs up if you liked it. Any kind of feedback, please leave it in the comment section. I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much and goodbye.